What's going on, Pastor Student Ministries? It's your boy Gafar with the hair looking like Gerald from Hey Arnold. I'm bringing to you guys the live at 7:45 today as I'm driving, but don't worry, I'm at a stop sign now. I just was wanting to talk about a little bit about faithfulness, and there was something that the Lord had placed in my heart, and I was really just thinking about it and just wanting to share. But I first off I've been going through the Bible and trying to go through the Bible in a year, and even though it's the third month, I'm on the 32nd day, so you know what, but I'm staying consistent with doing it, so that's what matters. See, faithfulness right there. But I've been reading through the story of Job, and I've been so encouraged and so reminded of how Job's life was, because there was a season that I was like, oh man, I'm like Job, my whole life is like Job. And it was easy to joke about that, but it was totally different to actually read it and then just notice how his life was. And I was like, man, that gets me good. So if you don't know much about Job, I'm going to just say a quick backstory so that way you can read the Bible. But Job was a man who loved God, followed God. He had 7 sons, 3 daughters. He had a ton of cattle. He had a ton of things. He was wealthy. He had a lot of stuff. And just like, that's one spot that we all want to be, you know. I don't want to say wealthy in just the sense of having money, but having a lot of things that God has provided, but it's because of our faithfulness to him and us loving him. But ended up, Satan came up into the throne room of God. It was like, basically it's like, hey, ain't nobody here loving you or whatever. He's like, have you checked out my servant Job? And he's like, no, I haven't. It's like, well, God's like, you can allow anything to happen, but you can't kill him. You can do whatever to his family and everything, and you just can't kill him. Now, first off, hearing that, people might be like, oh, wow, that seems mean and cruel. And it's not. I'm going to just tell you that it's not. So let me continue talking, and then you can just agree. But that's not how God works. He allowed it to happen, yes. So Satan comes and he kills Job's family minus his wife. He kills his kids. He destroys his cattle. In essence, he ruins him, and it causes Job just to like rip off his clothes and just be upset and be like, why, God, what has gone on? What has happened? What have I done? What's going on? What is going on that is causing you to do this? And so Job has 3 friends, and this is something that just made me think. It's like his friends at different times meant well, but they said the wrong stuff and they were saying the wrong things. So I'm going to take an extra right here and say, if you got friends who might mean well or something, but if they're not really listening to the voice of the Lord, or they're not just being there or anything, then they might be saying the wrong things to you in a situation that you don't need. So they were there with him. They were like, all right, we're going to grieve with you and everything. Later on, when they started talking, they're like, well, you must have done something wrong. I mean, there's no other reason. Ew, that's nasty. It's like, there's no other reason for God. Ew, that's still nasty. I'm sorry. Anyway, there's no other reason for this to happen to you. And if you were doing everything right, if you were loving God, if you were in his will, if things were going well, it's like, it must be you. I mean, because God doesn't do this to people who don't deserve it. And I think one of the things right there makes me think of our world, and when we see so many things happen, whether it be police brutality or maybe starving kids in India or in Africa or in China, because it's more than just Africa, it's in everywhere, even in South America. But we see so many things that go on, injustices, and sometimes we're like, well, God wouldn't allow this to happen if they didn't do something wrong, or God wouldn't do this and everything. He can't allow that. And Job was just like, I need y'all to step back and just pray with me, just ask the Lord for help. But they were still kind of like, nah, you did something wrong. This is your fault. You brought it on yourself, and you just need to correct it. And Job's like, I'm trying to ask God for wisdom and for help in this, because I don't know what God is trying to show me. And I think that's one of the things right there that kind of got to me about faithfulness, because in a couple of different areas. One, it's like, you can look at the way that Job was. It's like, even when things were happening, when crap was going on, he didn't curse God. He didn't give up on God. He was angry. He cursed the day that he was born. But he's like, God is the one who gives life and who brings it, and he's the one who's the judge, and so whatever he says, he can do. And so it's like, he's like, I just don't know what's going on. That to me is showing a little bit of Job holding on to the truth of who God has been to him. That's faithfulness. But then later on in the book of Job, God is like, where were you when I created the heavens and the earth? Where were you when I did this? And it's like, we want to start acting and get mad at God for not being there when our situations go on, or we're like, hey, I need you here for this, and you didn't show up. And God's like, excuse me, where were you at the formation of the earth? Where were you when I created everything? I set the stars in place. I made the sun come up this time, the moon come up this time. I did all of this for a greater purpose that you can see. And that to me spoke in a really heavy way of God's faithfulness to us and God's faithfulness to his plans. We can go throughout our life. We'll have different trials, different tribulations. I've had a ton, which is why I've been like, oh man, my life is like Job. But throughout it all, God has been faithful to stick with me. I was reading in a devotional, and it was talking about how the Holy Spirit is the comforter. And sometimes whenever we hear the word comforter, we think it means that it's like, oh, we're devoid of pain, or it's like this life is going to be without pain or anything. But what that means is that he sticks with us. He walks with us. The comforter is somebody who sticks and walks with us. And in the midst of everything that we go on, he is faithful to walk with us. You might be going through a terrible time with school, or it might be relationship stuff, or it might be family things and everything else. And you're like, God, where are you in the midst of this? Where are you in my culture? Where are you if I think I'm struggling with this sin or that or whatever else? Where are you? And if you are his and you believe in him, then Jesus told us, is I'm sending somebody greater than me to you, and that's the comforter. That's the Holy Spirit. So because of the Holy Spirit living within us, we can then remain faithful and hold on to the truth of who God is. And so no matter what, you'll probably have Job moments in life where you're just like, I don't understand what's going on. I don't get it. But God is faithful to us, and he's still with us, and he's still walking with us. He hasn't left nor forsaken us, and he won't start now. Otherwise, he'd go back on his word, and his word does not return void. Hebrews chapter 6, I think, it says, like, since there's no one greater than him, if he makes a promise, he's going to keep it. So if he's made a promise, and in his word, and he says that, he's going to keep it. So stay strong, hold on. God is here, and we can be faithful to him just as he's been faithful to us. All right? Love you guys, Passion. We'll see y'all later.